Greetings, everyone. Dale with Healing Frequencies Music here, and I'm following the new thing that I started in 2025 of just doing some little tidbits. And today's video is about using the words of life. And I started doing something else new as well, and I have an Instagram account. Dale Hungerford 1, I think is what the actual account is. I think I have another account that I forgot I had. So I made a new one. I'll put a link to it below. And what I'm doing is I'm putting out a positive or encouraging saying every day in the form of a meme. And we'll be doing this every day. So if you want something to help make you think about things, what's coming out of your mouth, things that you can do to bring greater healing into your system, they're just little sayings. And that's the easiest thing to put them up on Instagram. And then I also have a Facebook page of which I'll be posting some of that information there as well. And videos that are here in the YouTube channel. And a lot of times when I introduce something new, it will go up on the Facebook page. So make sure that you subscribe not only to this channel, but to the Instagram and get your cute little daily quotes. Some of them are pretty funny. And then see some things that I post on the on the Facebook page. The main point behind this little conversation, and hopefully you don't hear that cat playing in the background, it's kitty playtime. I've noticed, especially over the last several years, when I comment in things on YouTube or I see comments in Facebook or other places, people feel that we can get in front of a computer screen and just say whatever we want when we want to say it, but we do not realize the power of our words. And I always use myself as an example. We go through crap in life, and we can either learn from it or we get to repeat. I feel like life is full of tests. And if the same thing keeps recurring over and over and over, that's my first clue. Hey, I didn't pass the test the first time and I get to do it again. Oops. Life's trials are what we make of them. Sometimes life kind of sucks. And then you have to keep moving. It's what do you do in the middle of a circumstance or in the middle of a situation that often determines how your body handles it. And I'm a living example of being sick for 19 years where I could hardly function. And it wasn't until I made the choice, so you notice the word choice, to come out of agreement with negative things that were affecting me. And I didn't necessarily realize they were negative because we practice negative behavior. We carry that inside. We carry it in our DNA. This thing called epigenetics. And then you've got water memory. And I've talked about some of those things in some of the videos that are before this. Your body is at least 70% water. So everything you say over yourself is stored in your being. I challenge everyone who's watching this video, put on a tape recorder when you're having a conversation with someone and record the conversation. Have someone put on a tape recorder around the house and just listen to what's coming out of your mouth. You'll be shocked. I know I was. I had no idea that I was speaking death over myself. When I'm saying death, negativity, anything that's negative is bringing death into your system. And that makes you sick. And not a lot of people want to recognize that, but there is so much truth to that. And if we're going out on social media and wowing or making negative comments to other posts just because we want to one-up somebody, I'm like, do you realize that's hurting you more than it's hurting the other person? And yes, we have free speech, but I'm like, at what cost are we willing to say dumb things? And so my encouragement for this short little video, if you could do any assignment in the world, it would be to go take an inventory of what's coming out of here and then realize that a lot of that stuff is actually coming from in the heart. And one of the ways that that I can tell things. A lot of people, including myself, I've done this, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt and wore it. There's this thing called projecting. Projecting is where you accuse somebody of the very thing you're doing yourself. And I've seen that a lot in politics in the last couple of years on both sides. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I vote for who I think is going to do the best job. And they're not necessarily going to be my favorite people. But you have to look at the behavior. You have to look at what's going on in the background, not what's coming out of their mouth. I mean, we pay attention to fancy words and how eloquent they might be, but then you look at their behavior, and does the behavior line up with the words? We often forget that. And I had to do the same thing in my own situation. Is what I'm saying lining up with how I'm behaving? And that's honestly what helped get me out of an abusive relationship, because my ex-husband was doing all this projecting. He was accusing me of the very thing he was doing himself. And even when I brought that up to him, he was like, no, I'm not. You're the one who's in deceit. You're the one who doesn't know what's going on. And I would show the receipts. I'm like, dude, the bank called me and they said this today, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, no, they're lying. And I look at him going, what turnip truck did you fall off of today? So we can get so ingrained in what we believe that we can't see the forest through the trees. Someone says the sky is blue, and you're like, no, it's not, it's red. And they say it enough times that we get to believe it. I mean, how do you think? I mean, I don't know how many people remember the Jim Jones thing in the 1970s, where he had this following, and the dude started out like he was a pretty cool preacher, and then he moved his entire group to Guyana, and they all 900 of them mass suicide, because he had so brainwashed them into believing that they were all going to be destroyed or something. And I was on that path in my own marriage until somehow I was able to pull out of it. But it took me another 15 years, because I didn't have anyone helping me, to retrain my brain, rewire what was going on in me. But it started with this. It started with what was coming out of my mouth. I had to stop the negativity. I had to start looking at things as if the glass is half full, not half empty. And when we do that, we are going to walk in greater healing, spirit, soul, and body, because we have a 3-part being that functions as one unit. And if we're not paying attention to what's going on in the spiritual aspect of ourselves, which is our intuition, the revelation that we receive, that little small voice that's speaking to you, and we ignore that, we're in trouble. And it wasn't until I started really thinking and looking at what I was saying, what I was thinking, and then completely did a reframing thing. I talk about this in my book, Transforming Mindsets. I'll put a link to that in the video below this as well, just so that you can go check it out. I honestly say, when we learn to speak words of life over ourselves and over our situations, things will begin to change. But just like being a musician practicing scales 3 or 4 hours a day, it's going to take reminding your entire being who you are and that you can be positive, and the negativity just has to get on a train and go to Timbuktu. All negativity goes. And it doesn't happen instantly. But one of the things I had to learn to do, take one step at a time. And every time there's a victory, rejoice that you didn't do it 10 times today. You only did it 9. So I encourage everyone watching this video, if there's things in your life that you don't like, that aren't going well, take an inventory of what's coming out of your mouth and start from there. See you in the next video.